G'day, I'm Rob, and today we're going to make an IBC wicking bed. We'll do this from start to finish, so we'll get started. On this particular pallet we need a T25 Torx bit driver just to remove the screws around the bottom holding the frame to the pallet. We also need to remove the top supports so we can get the IBC out. Okay, so we've removed all the screws from the frame to the pallet, so we just got to remove the pallet now, remove the IBC out of the centre, and then we need to mark our frame to cut it in half. Quite easy to remove the IBC. Just take a hold of the lid, just give it a little bit of a pull, and it should just slide out really easy. Okay, so grab your tape measure, measure halfway in between both ends, just mark it out with a pencil or a marking pen, something like that, and hit it with your cut-off wheel or a grinder. Okay, just ready to use this. If you haven't used one, be extremely careful because they are very thin, can shatter very easily. I've had one that has exploded on me and it's still lodged in the roof of my shed. So be very careful. They can cut fingers off, they can lodge in arms, so you can really hurt yourself if you're not careful with them. If you're not confident in using it, don't. Yeah, because you can end up very sore. So what we're going to do now, we've marked these out. So I'll just cut the corners off because I have already pre-cut some along the flat edges, just so it doesn't take too much time. So I'll plug this in, put the goggles and the gloves on just to protect yourself, and we should be fine. In my case, the glasses too. Okay, never stand directly over the top of the blade either. It can come up and whack you in the face. Okay, now that you've cut your frame in half, put half back on the pallet and then put your IBC back inside the pallet, so it makes it easier to to mark and cut the IBC in half. Okay, that's how it's done. Okay, just grab your pencil or a marking pen and just run around the top of the frame. Okay, just do that all the way around, then remove the IBC from the frame again. You can clearly see the pencil mark down through that IBC. So now grab your cut-off wheel or jigsaw and cut it in half. Okay, you can see I've just cut these in half. This one here has had water in it for quite a while, just used as a little bit of a water storage. When it's dried out, all the algae and everything that's been in here has obviously dried up, so it needs a good clean out. Hit it with a pressure cleaner and probably some detergent and clean it right out to get any contaminants out of it. A good idea is to really give them a good scrub out, because you don't know what has been in these pods. They can have oil, they can have coolant, they can have urea, can have anything in them, so even pesticides. So give them a really good scrub, then you shouldn't have any worries with your veggies. Okay, just something when you're going to use the top of your IBC, just don't forget to put sealant around the top cap. Otherwise, with this being on the bottom and it's not sealed, your water will actually drop out, or leak out I should say. So just a bit of silicone, just put her in the bottom there. Just give her a good coverage right around. Make sure it's all nice and dry and clean. Oops. Screw on properly for me. That's better. Just do her up nice and tight, and that should give you a good seal. Okay, the cut-off pod has been scrubbed out, nice and clean and everything. So the next step is to put our ag pipe in and make a fill tube. Now this one here, that's 2-inch stormwater pipe. What I've done there is actually cut a section out of the bottom, so that just allows the water to run freely when you fill the IBC up. So what we do now, what I have done, is just cut a hole in the top of the ag pipe for the fill pipe to go in. What it is just slightly smaller, so it just allows the fill pipe to sit in there nice and neat and not sort of flop around and be able to come out easy. So we'll just put that in. You can see it just took a little bit of pressure to do that. Now we put the ag pipe in. If you do have trouble putting it round, 5 metres of ag pipe is quite a bit, and it does tend to jump up. If you need to, just get a bit of baling twine or a bit of string or something like that, and just tie it together, and it just helps it hold it in place. I'll give this a try and see if we can get it to work. It's not too bad. Just have a look in here and show you. Yeah, so that's it, just sitting there now. Okay, now that the cap is sealed, it's time to actually mount the IBC into the other half of your frame. Now we're working with this upside down at the moment, so make sure your flat edge of your frame is on the bottom, and we've just got to put the top half of the IBC in and then actually screw the braces on. It's starting to rain a little bit too. So we've got the braces off that we took off on the first place when we first disassembled the frame. Keep our little screws, of course, and our Torx bit top. Well, they're done, and as you can see, sometimes it's a bit of a mission to get it in by yourself. Extra pair of hands would have been handy. Okay, that's what it looks like the right way up. Okay, I've just painted the IBC just to protect it from the UV rays. So what we need to do now is actually put a drain nipple in the IBC, so when the sump fills up, it just drains to where you want your water level. So what we need to do, just grab your cordless drill, a 12mm spade bit, and what we need to do is drill 150mm up from the bottom, and then just put our nipple in. So what we'll do, we'll just do that now. Doesn't have to be real accurate. Okay, so what I've got is a 13mm by 19mm nipple. What we need to do is just put some shade cloth over the top to stop any debris getting into the drain section of it. So what we do, just have the nipple there, just wrap your shade cloth around it like that, just fold it over, and then just wrap a zip tie around it. Through. Hopefully you can see that without too much problem, and that just protects that end from getting full of rubbish. So we'll just nip that off. All that needs to do then is just be pushed through the hole, push a piece of garden pipe, as in the garden hose, just over that, just to keep it tied up against the side of the IBC. Actually need a bit bigger than 12mm. Should have grabbed a 16mm. The drain is now fitted. You can see here that it's in. A little bit of hose is on the end of it just to keep it nice and snug. If you feel that the hole is a little bit too big and it slops around a bit, just cut yourself a little rubber washer and just put on there, and it tightens up just nicely. Now another thing that you need to do is measure 2 spots about 75 mil up from where your drain is, and actually drill 2 more holes in there. This acts if the drain blocks up and you happen to get quite a downpour of rain. If there's no drains in here, it will just act like a tub, and everything that you got in here will drown. So just put 2 more drains in, which I'll just do now, which I have already marked out. That just ensures you won't have any floaters at the end of a big storm. At this stage we've got gravel and the ag pipe in, all ready to go for the geomat. But what I have also done, I've put in 2 4-litre containers, just with a bit of a scallop out the bottom so the water can run in, and a couple of air holes out the top so the air can run out. This will just aid in giving you a little bit more water storage. So the next stage is just the geomat, which is one we've taken out further. So it's just a matting to go over the top of the gravel and the ag pipe, just to stop the sand when you put it in, just filling up your reservoir. So the next stage is, okay, just the sand over the top, probably around about the 2 inches of sand in there. Just make sure your drain outlet isn't covered by sand. Just give it a little bit of room around there so you can put your shade cloth and then your mulch just over top of that, just so it doesn't block up. Right, the next stage of our IBC build, what we've got to do is put a shade cloth barrier in between the sand and the mulch that's coming on top of the shade cloth. So I've already cut the shade cloth out. It's around about 200 mil bigger than what you actually need for the inside the IBC. So what we need to do is just cover it over. Just try and get it as close to the edges as you can. You can see over there the little outlet pipe is above the shade cloth. And then we're ready for the next stage of the mulch. What I've used today for mulch is grassy hay. You can use straw or sugarcane mulch. So don't be afraid to give it a good dose of mulch. What I've got there is probably around about 100 mil or so just of mulch. It will decompose and pack down as you put your manure and your compost and topsoil on the top as well, so probably the more the better. So we'll just go over to this next bed. I've just put in shredded horse manure in there, which is around about the 50 litre mark. I will put another 10 litres or so of decomposed chicken manure in there as well. Over to our next bed. This has been filled up with about 100 litres of homemade compost, which is a really rich brew, lots of worms and everything in there, so that should be really good for the plants when they come through. We're just on to the last stage of our project now. We've just put in 100 litres of topsoil. What we've done now is just wet the whole topsoil down because it was fairly dry. We just want to keep it nice and moist until the water wicks up from the bottom of the well. So the next stage was, after we've wet it down, put in all our mulch again. That's just the grassy hay again, and I've just wet the top of that too, just to help with the keeping in of the moisture. So that's the third bed done over there. Now I'll just cap what we've put into the beds. Obviously we've started off with our 5 metres of ag pipe. Then we put in 30 litres of gravel. Put the geomat over the top of that, which was about 1.2 by 1.5 metres. Just a little bit bigger than the inside of the tub, just so you can tuck the down around the ag pipe. Then we put in 110 litres of sand. Shade cloth over the top of that. We put in quite a fair bit of mulch. Then we put in 50 litres of shredded horse manure and about 10 litres of decomposed chicken manure. Also then put 100 litres of compost in, and then 100 litres of topsoil, and then the mulch on top, and that's it. So we'll just now fill up our reservoir. So the hose just in the fill pipe. That initially will take probably around about 180 litres to 200 litres of water. When that's full, which I have already filled it, you can get your water coming out your little overflow pipe there. When you see that, that's enough. Right, we've just filled our wicking beds. One thing not to forget, just don't forget to put the caps on your fill pipes. That keeps the frogs out and keeps mosquitoes out as well. Now we've finished these projects. I've got another 6 to do, making my total of wicking beds 13. Really happy with the way they produce the produce. I've got 4 beds already going, so which I'll put in a little clip just to show you how they actually grow, which is really good. This will allow us to stagger our crops pretty much right through the year, and should give us a great reduction on our veggie bills. So one thing there, the watering of these wicking beds, it'll depend on what crops you've got in. I've got one up there at the moment with potatoes in it. It only needs filling up probably once a month. The other ones I've got up there that have got silver beet, lettuce, beetroot, tomatoes in the middle of summer like we've just had, which has been some days up around the 40 odd degree mark, they needed watering probably every 3rd to 4th day. But just check what you got. When they're only little seedlings, of course they won't be using as much moisture, and there won't be as much evaporating either if it's not in summer. So just keep an eye on it. Just use a stick to dip your drain plugs, your fill pipes. Or if you don't want to do that, just stick the hose in. If it comes out of your leak off line, that's certainly enough. So what I did want to mention as well, the cut-off wheel episode that exploded on me, that was actually human error. And what it was, the grinder that I had it sitting on its back. It somehow fallen over, put a hairline crack through the disc, which I didn't know, and as I was cutting off it, the section actually split in half and flew up into the roof. So I will just give you a quick look at that. Okay, there it is, up on the roof of my shed. We'll just zoom in a little bit on that. You can see there, put quite a gash in the insulation, and it's stuck there just as a reminder to me to be careful. The other reason why they will explode too is if you're pushing too hard through the metal will actually grab, especially if the metal drops and pinches your blade. So be real careful with it, because they can do some damage. Okay, you can see here the tomatoes first up. They're going really well. A few little flowers starting to come on there, and at 5.5 weeks I'm sort of really happy with that. Over the back here we've got some little cucumbers. They've got plenty of flowers on them as well, and lots of little cucumbers coming. The silver beet over here, you can see that by the size of the hand, how big the leaves and everything are. They've gone really well. The beetroot down the bottom, they're coming along quite well as well. The lettuce, that's gone really well. Yeah, quite large leaves on them, very tasty. Ourselves and the chooks love them. This little project's been done off and on over the last couple of weekends. So hopefully I've inspired you to get out and have a go. It is certainly worth the effort, and you won't be disappointed with the results. So if you like this clip, hit the subscribe button, and next time I post a video you should get notified, hopefully if YouTube does it. Okay, happy gardening, bye for now.